Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be replacing the screen in an iPhone SE 2nd generation. Let's get right to it. So this is the iPhone that is going to be serviced. It's got a cracked screen and I have this replacement screen. It's a used screen. It has some scratches, but it's not cracked like this one is. I'm going to be showing you how to swap it out. So this screen is the same as the iPhone 8 and probably the iPhone SE 3rd generation as well. So to do this, you will need a tool like this, and you can use a regular suction cup, but I really like the ones that have the suction cups on both sides. It has a glass back, so you can just pry it apart like that. And then I'm going to use this screwdriver kit. If you have the right bits, you can just use those, but I recommend getting a kit. They're really nice. I have this screwdriver here that I'm going to use. So you want a pencil lobe screwdriver for this first part. Remove these two screws from the bottom of the phone. And for this next part, you may want to use a hairdryer or a low temperature heat gun. You don't want it to get too hot or that will be dangerous, but you want to get it warm enough to melt the adhesive. You may not need to do this though. So I'm just going to pry it like this, and it's coming up so I can insert my tool under here. So if you're not able to get the tool under, try heating it a little bit. Now I can remove these now that I have my tool under. So if you're just using a single suction cup, you may need to heat it up because it's a lot harder to do that way. So you will have tools like these in your screwdriver kit if you get one of those, as well as picks. I'm going to insert a pick right there just to keep it open. And now you want to just go around and crack the adhesive. You don't want to insert your pick too far or you can damage ribbon cables on this side. Basically, you want to cut the adhesive. As you can see, it's coming up right here. So that's making some good progress. Now you want to just lift it up slightly like that. I can take that pick out now and then try to crack the adhesive on the top. It's probably good just like that though. So you can try to pull it down away from the top. Maybe it needs to be done a little bit more. There we go, I got it separated, and you want to be very careful because there's ribbon cables right here. So now you're going to need to change your screw bit to a Phillips. And you want a pretty small size as well. So the first screws you want to remove are the ones on this plate covering the battery connector. And some of them are different sizes, so what I recommend doing is laying them out on your table or preferably on a magnetic mat in the pattern they were arranged in. So there's two different sizes of these ones right here. There we go, and you can remove these. And now you can see there is this battery connector right here. So I'm just going to use this to pull it up. And kind of bend it out of the way, don't damage it. But you want it to, not be touching that area. And now what you want to do is disconnect this one for the display and this one also for the display. They're for different things on the display. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but just make sure to disconnect both, as well as this one up here, which is covered in another plate. Alright, so I got that removed, and now I can disconnect the last connector for the display, and this is free now. So I'm going to move the phone out of the way, and we can work on transferring these things to the new display. So the things that we will need to transfer are the home button and the stuff at the top. So like the camera and the earpiece and stuff like that. So first we're going to look at the Touch ID sensor right here. So now you're going to need to use Y screws. And that's why it helps to have one of these toolkits. They are also very small. So this one is in the middle of the home button. Then there's two next to the home button and one over here. Alright, so I got those removed, and now these can come away like that. And you can disconnect the Touch ID sensor. Now what I recommend using for this is two tools, or you can put a tool and pry above with your fingernail, and basically there's these connectors right here, and so they're both kind of suspended. So basically you want to disconnect that, then this one can come away like that, and this one is on the actual home button assembly. Now this is the part where you may need to heat it up, because this is attached very securely with adhesive. So again, you will need to use a hair dryer or a low temperature heat gun. I didn't need to use it for the other process, but I think I will need to use it for this, especially since it's very fragile. And this time we don't have the risk of heating it up and exploding the battery. Alright, I heated that up a bit and I'm going to try to do it again. So just a word of caution, be careful when you're doing this, because if you damage the home button, you cannot replace it without taking it to Apple and having them replace the entire screen. The home button is paired to the logic board and it will not work after being replaced. On other iPhones, it was just the Touch ID that didn't work, but now that the home button is not actually a button, it just doesn't work at all. It's definitely easier to pull up now. There we go. And now it can come out like this. There we go. Now that is the home button. It's not a button, it's just a sensor. And now we have this on display with one thing left to do, and that is the top. But actually what I'm going to do before that is put the home button on the new display, just so we don't have as many screws laying around. So what I'm going to do is thread this through. Put it like that. Now pull this away. Stick it down. And that can go back. Now you want to plug these in. This is kind of hard. There we go. That goes down there, and these screws can go back in. Be careful not to over tighten them, because the home button may not be able to detect pressure. Alright, so I'm going to work on these now. So I'm going to switch over to my other bits. and remove these screws. There we go, got them all removed. Now these can come up. These can fold over and these can come out. And you may need to loosen these as well with a hairdryer or a low temperature heat gun. Alright. You can pry these up now. There we go. And now you want to fit these like a puzzle in the new screen. There we go. Put that back on. Put that down. And that over it. And screw it back down. The display assembly should now be complete. And now we can reinstall it back into the phone. So first thing you want to do is connect this. And then put this plate here. And screw it down. There we go. Now you want to connect these two display cables. Like that. Then the battery. Then put this plate over and screw it down. Now the thing is, I forgot to order adhesive strips to make the phone water resistant. So I have kind of some of the original as well as some on the replacement that I will try to use, but I highly recommend ordering a new adhesive strip, and you will need to install it before you put the display back on because it needs to go all the way around. Alright, there we go. And now the only thing left to do should be to snap it down, but I want to make sure it works first. So I'm going to test a few things right here. The first is the front-facing camera. That works. Then what I'm going to do is cover the top of the phone and turn it on. And the screen should be dim. That shows the auto brightness sensor is working. Now you should also test by making a call or something and make sure the speaker is working up here. And now you want to put it back together. So I'd recommend powering it off for this. So slide in the top, make sure it's flush like that. Push it down. Now switch your bit to your pentalobe. And reinstall the two final screws. And there you have it. You have now restored a cracked iPhone SE 2nd generation. It no longer has a cracked screen. And that is it for this video. I hope this video has helped you out. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Until next time, it's Fortnan Kiwi from Superuser Project.